Hey, welcome back to the Budget Gamer channel, where we bring you critical and in-depth reviews of just about every indie game we can get our hands on, and today we're going to be taking a look at Tamashii for the Nintendo Switch. And if you are a horror or a horror game fan, definitely stay tuned for this review because it might be offering you a little bit more than you'd expect from such a short puzzle platformer. Starting off, as you would expect from a platformer style title, you don't really get much of a backstory and you're thrown directly into a scenario. More or less, you'll be playing the game as the Emissary of Light, a spontaneously generated being from some godlike character in order to go and cleanse his corrupted temple. And even in that original scene, we're graced with imagery kind of parallel to that of H.R. Geiger, the original artist for the Alien movies, and really made aware of just how corrupt this corrupted temple is. The controls in Tamashii are pretty simple and straightforward, like we'd expect from a casual puzzle platformer with a jump, a double jump, and the ability to lay down up to 3 clones, which are icons that you'll use to activate and navigate your way through certain platforming puzzles. The jump functions in the game, though, do require a little bit of finesse, because the longer you hold down the button, up to a certain extent, you'll jump higher and farther. And as I'm sure you can already guess, this will be absolutely necessary to get a handle on to make it through some of the more taxing puzzles. But the real cool thing for the puzzling fans out there is that system of clones. All throughout each of the levels, there'll be these little grabber apparatuses that when you drop a clone in one, it acts as an activated switch. These switches generally make blocks appear or disappear, and of course the deeper you get into the levels, the more switches you'll have to be able to toggle in series and sequence, and the better the grasp on how to manage your clone's timers you'll have to get to make it all the way to the end. Sometimes you might be praying that those timers last just a split second longer, and sometimes it might actually be to your advantage to hold down the Y button and make the timers tick off even faster. And yeah, it will take a lot to get a handle on, so thankfully by holding down the select or the minus button, you can quickly restart the level at any point. The platforming aspects of the game are quick and rely on intuition as well as trial and error. So thankfully the death mechanic, though it is one touch, is instantaneous, and at any portion of the level you can die and immediately retry that portion over and over and over until you get it right. The total game, though, only has 5 major level portions designed to have their own level of difficulties to kind of scale you up through the game as you play. But regardless of which corrupted temple room you're trying to clear, at the end of the level there will be a choice to take the easy route or the hard route into the boss fight. And yeah, even though it's a puzzle platformer, the boss fights will test your mettle. By this point in the review footage though, and even though I've tried not to spoil too much for you by giving away some of it, you can tell that this is a vividly creepy game. There's not many horror titles that really mess me up too much because they're generally just jump scare, but this one is intrinsically just in-your-face creep. The graphics are pretty horrific and deal with body horror and catch you out of nowhere, and sometimes the music sets you up for it, and sometimes the music completely misleads you and throws you off into a tangent. But either way, instead of relying on jump scares or even relying on its horrific imagery, Tamashii relies on being completely unpredictable. And hence this is the reason that I'm kind of refusing to show you any footage that might give away any of the terror. It is crazy, and it will make your skin crawl, and the music is phenomenally suited to these really ridiculous graphics. And after having talked about the game's story, a little bit about its mechanics, its visuals, and its audio, this is where I would normally dive into the critique. And in all honesty, the only critique that I think some gamers might come up with is its duration. Tamashii is not exactly a long game, though I don't really think it was meant to be. It has a story to tell, and if you can brave through the horrific scenes and the jump scares and everything else that's going on, you'll get to hear the whole story in pretty much one sitting. It shouldn't take a seasoned platformer more than about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 to get through the whole game's story. But then again, even if you do, there's something kind of akin to a New Game Plus mode. You can play for time trials and get high scores and go back through any of the levels you've played. And you can always, of course, go back through a level, and if you took the easy path the first time, try and challenge yourself to take the hard path. So in that sense, there are actually, even though it is a decently short game, a decent amount of replayability. So in light of all of this, and also considering the fact that Tamashii as a game really does iconically capture those perfect moments of early Asian horror, it really is a game that's pretty much beyond reproach for what it is. So if you are a fan of some more difficult platformers like Super Meat Boy or puzzle platformers in general, and especially if you are a fan of gore and just creeped out horror, Tamashii is a game that, while on sale for just over $5, is a must-have for your collection. But anyway, that does about wrap up the review of Tamashii now on the Nintendo Switch, so if you enjoyed the review, or especially if you found it helpful, feel free to throw me a like or comment, show your support, and don't forget to click that little bell icon when you subscribe to stay updated with the latest content. As you can plainly see, there are thousands of new and unique indies coming out literally every single day, and there's always going to be some cool new game to find out about right here. And because the channel is still new and still growing, every like, every comment, every subscription, and every share really does help. But anyway, this has been The Budget Gamer, so as always, thanks for watching.